Welcome back to Agent Tactics. It is another Thursday at 10 a.m. Central. We've got a lot to go through. My guest today is Raj Sahoo, like Yahoo, and he is fantastic. What's interesting about YouTube is I always tell people there's lots of ways to do this. My way might not work for you. There might be other ways. And when Raj was starting his channel, he really looked at my channel and said, okay, I want to do what Jeremy does, but I don't want to be Jeremy. And I don't blame him because nobody can have this beautiful of hair. So he came up with a content style that worked for him. What I love about his content is for those people that are just deathly afraid to be on camera, this is the style for you. It's a voiceover style. He has, we'll go through his process on here, which his process is amazing. So we're going to go through his process of how he does this, how he gets the footage, how he does his voiceovers, all of that. We're going to get real granular, which is Chase's word. If you're new to Agent Tactics, I do this every Thursday at 10 a.m. The replays are on my Agent Tactics YouTube channel. I actually just started an Agent Tactics Instagram just so I could get all of my agent facing stuff onto a second Instagram, so it wasn't all cluttered on my main feed. So please follow me on Instagram at Agent Tactics. You'll see me holding a cookbook. It's a very amazing, beautiful picture I've done. So my guest, Raj Sahoo. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me on, Jeremy. Excited to be here.
Amazing. So real quick, when you started this channel, I want to get into the nitty gritty, but like a 30-second overview, what was the main reason you jumped into doing this style?
The style was really just to learn. I didn't really know how many people were actually going to reach out to me through YouTube. I'm also the least creative person ever. My brain works like a calculator, so it's always looking for a formula. And so I knew I was going to put out content that was relatively boring. So I just started doing detailed walkthroughs of builders' floor plans, thinking that if I do a detailed walkthrough of it, I'll memorize these floor plans, and the next person who reaches out to me looking for new construction options, I'm going to know all the floor plans, I'm going to know all the details, and I'm going to be a better agent for them. And it was my sole purpose of creating my YouTube channel in the beginning, but eventually people started reaching out and I kept doubling down and tripling down on content, and then everything took off.
Well, here's what's really, really impressive is everybody always talks about this agent or this person has this many views, this many subscribers. What I think is a testament to what you've done is your channel now, over all these years, is about 8,300 subscribers. But on a yearly basis, you do $20+ million a year directly from YouTube, no other lead source, and you only work primarily new construction. A lot of the other stuff you refer off, and even in the beginning of your videos, you say, I may not be the agent for you, more on that later. So they have to stay tuned to hear what you're talking about. I want to go through some of your scripting and things that work in a second, but this style of content, I want everybody to know, works so incredibly well. The amount of business that Raj gets off of this is absolutely amazing. So let's go through the major question that most people usually ask me, Raj, and that is, how do I get a videographer? If you have that question, or an editor, if that's a question you have, do me a favor, drop a 1 in the comment section so I know that's what you want. And for those of you that are watching this on YouTube as a replay, I ask the people live these questions that way, because this is a live show. I ask these questions so I know who's engaged. It's not to sell anything. Some lady commented one time, I thought you were selling stuff. That's why I didn't listen. So let's talk about your process. How the hell do I get an editor, and how the hell do I find a videographer? The way you did it's amazing.
Yeah, and I think it depends on where you're at. So I'm going to ask people to drop something else in the comment. If you've done like a lot of videos, you know your formula for what works on YouTube. Maybe you're doing Instagram Reels. Let's say you've done 50+ videos. Drop the letter A for alpha in the comments. Now, if you're a realtor that has tried videos, but you're really frustrated, you don't do videos consistently, you are not a fan of social media, it just doesn't come natural, drop the letter B in the chat. Or if you just never done videos before, drop the letter B. I want to see where everybody's at. So I see some A's. Shout out to Amy at Perry Homes, new in home sales, or new home sales, excuse me. B, okay, so it's like 50-50 is what I'm seeing. All right, so here's what I'm telling you. If you're more in the B category, I don't think you can outsource this, okay? Because you need to know what to outsource. And if you're frustrated by social media, you have to break through that frustration and figure out a formula that works for you. If you can't figure out your own formula, you're not going to be able to outsource it. And no offense to videographers, but they don't know content. If they did know content for real estate, they would get a realtor license, and it's extremely lucrative to refer out leads, even if you don't want to be a realtor. So most cannot put together a content strategy for you. So if you're the letter B, listen up later. Jeremy and I will talk about how to do property tours, what I stole from Jeremy in terms of his tactics of how to get people to reach out to me. And we'll talk about that. And I think you really need to lean in on that. If you're more like the letter A, you've done lots of videos, you got a formula, it's really simple. What I would tell you for a videographer is use wisehire.com. Now, I should probably get a referral link for Wisehire because I talk about them so much, and I got them from Jeremy. So Wisehire is how I got my videographer. I did a posting where I said I'll pay people 25 to 30 bucks an hour here in Austin. I mentioned that I'm a YouTuber, which everybody wants to work with a YouTuber, and I got 120 applications. I would say probably like 80 were just kind of throw it to the side, but out of 40, I just wanted to find like out of those 40, like 3 to 6 that have done maybe some videography before in the real estate space or maybe some sort of experience. And out of the 6 people that I picked, I had them run through a trial. I said, hey, go to this new construction home. I know the agent there. They'll let you in and do a video that matches this video. And I just gave some basic tactics, but I was purposely vague because I wanted them to take it and run with it. And I had them do videos of kind of similar to what I do with these property tours, which is fairly basic, and just see what they do. And out of those 6, I had one that stood out very far from everybody else, followed directions really well, asked me great questions of like, what are you trying to do in this? What are you trying to do here? What are you trying to do there? He really tried to understand what I was trying to capture. And I hired him. He worked with me for over a year. He is also a realtor. He was licensed in real estate. I convinced him to start his own YouTube channel. He started a YouTube channel. It completely took off. So now I found a new videographer. But point is, Wisehire got me a lot of applications, and it was just a matter of sifting through them. Jeremy used them too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you go to do this on Wisehire, we could get real granular on how to do that. But what were the key bullet points that you put in there, right? Okay, I'm going to pay you 50 bucks an hour. That's one. I found that sometimes when you pay people per hour, they just take longer to do it. So yeah, $30 to $50 an hour. I can tell you what I did for mine, which was very similar. And this is the great thing is like my YouTube channel had way more subscribers than Raj. I listened to what Raj did here and it actually helped me. So this is the thing is like, it doesn't matter the subscriber count. It's surrounding yourself by a community of people that are going to help you the right way. What I did for mine is I literally did exactly what Raj did. Raj said that. I was like, oh my God, that makes sense. So I said, hey, look, here's what I'm willing to pay someone. Here's how many videos I need. I need 4 long form videos between 8 and 15 minutes long per week. So that's 4 a month. I need, what was it? Like 30 short content pieces from that. We're going to film at minimum 1 day a week for 4 to 8 hours. And then the rest of that time is spent doing editing. I had 6 people that were the same thing. I had like 6 people that I actually narrowed down and interviewed. And then many of you got to meet Bryce at Tom Ferry this week. I literally sat down with Bryce, very similar thing. And I said, here's what I want. And I could tell he got the vision. So the biggest thing here is you have to, if you don't know what Raj is talking about as far as these shots, I would sit down first thing first and go find the 5 channels. And this is why when we were at the event, I said, here's the 5 channels you should look at to get good ideas. So I would look at what similar style that you want to do. And then that way you can take that video to that person and go, I want to do it similar to this. Okay, go ahead, Raj. Does that help? If that's helpful, drop me a 1 in the comment. I just want to make sure we're all engaged and this is helpful. If those tips help, let me make sure we know. Okay, perfect. As long as Dave puts 1, that's all I care about. Yeah, I'm just kidding. Rambo's in here. What's up, Rambo? Okay, go ahead.
Jeremy, can I share my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so let me make sure I got all right, perfect. This is the right screen. All right, so and this kind of goes back to what I mentioned. If you're the letter A, you have a formula that works, then just write out that formula, right? That's your SOP. What I'll tell you is I'm going to show you my SOP. I do not recommend copying this. Right now, the realtor space for new construction homes, especially in Austin, is very busy. I would try to come up with a different formula that works for you, that caters to a different target audience. It's a different topic, but just use this as an example. This is what I mean by the formula. So when I say I have everything written out of how to do the property tour, literally, this is what I mean. Like, start on the outside of the home in a spot similar to the thumbnail, point your camera at a 45-degree angle down at the ground, and then move your camera up. Similar to 28 to 30 seconds in the above video. This above
You know,
video
what's
is got,
what's
yeah.
what's really impressive is everybody's going to ask what camera do they use? You're shooting all of this on an iPhone. Your videographers are shooting this on an iPhone at 60 frames a second. So for everybody that's going to want to go spend $5,000 on a A7 III Sony, you don't need to do that. Use your phone. Go ahead.
Yep. Use your phone. I have an iPhone 12. I think it's a 12. It's one of the old ones. So I always buy the cheaper one. But yeah, it shoots in 4K. I do 30 frames per second on the long videos, but the short videos I do 60 frames per second, like Jeremy said, because I speed those up or slow them down. But the point is, like, I took one video that I did and I broke it down second by second of exactly what they need to do. Like, I mean, like, walk to a position that's able to capture the kitchen from a different angle. Pan over to the opposite wall of the kitchen. Pan back to the center of the kitchen island. Look up. Capture the pendant lights going up to the ceiling. Like, I wrote it out movement by movement by movement. I don't expect them to learn all this on the first go around, but 10 videos in, I expect them to make minimal mistakes, maybe like 3 to 5 mistakes. And so my goal is to get them from video 1 to video 10. And I did that with 3 videographers just to see who would make the most traction. I knew one stood out already that was really good. He was very professional. And of course, he was the one who picked it up the fastest. And so I think you have to write out what this formula looks like, try to find somebody who can get up to speed as fast as possible. They just need to be teachable. They need to work hard. They need to be detail oriented. And then I think it's easy. Somebody will stand out. And then from there, it's just like 25, $30 an hour. But I also tell them, hey, I'm going to have 10 hours a week of work for you, maybe less. But I have other realtors that I'm mentoring on YouTube and I can get you more business. And so always look at it from their angle. A lot of these people are looking at gig work. And so the gig work is very inconsistent. So if you provide a solution to that and you band together with realtors in your market that are also interested in doing video, then you can get somebody full-time work. When my videographer started with me, within 2 months of working with me, I already connected him with 3 to 4 other realtors. He was getting as much work as he wanted. And in fact, he said no more realtors after those 2 months. And I didn't send him anybody else because he was packed.
One thing I want to, you said something in there that I think was really important. It was beyond this, is that you mentor agents. One of the things that Raj and I both do is we've got an amazing group of agents that do YouTube that have joined us here where we are at our brokerage. Now, you yesterday had 40 agents live in Austin going over different lead tactics. Next week, hello everyone, real quick. If you want to see Raj again next week, he's going to come on next week. And this is what I love about Agent Tactics, is that when I have people that do really, really amazing, I like to have them come back and actually host. So next week, he's actually going to host with Rod Alawan. I'll put these 2 names in the chat. 2 people you should absolutely be following, totally different styles. But I think this is where it's really important. You surround yourself by community that's giving back and helping you with these things. So, all right. So first thing here you did is you literally just wrote down a whole shot list of everything you did. You went into Wise Hire, said, this is what I want. You interviewed everybody on Wise Hire. You had 5 people, 6 people go out and shoot the same exact home and give you the same exact footage.
Exactly.
Right?
And
Yep.
then that way I figure out who's matching up to the quality and the standard that I want to keep as a minimum and who's picking up as fast as possible. And really, for video editors, it's the same type of thing. It's just a different formula of how to edit the shots. I went to, and y'all can still see my screen, right? Fiverr.
Yep.
So
Good.
I did a ton of design work on Fiverr, so I can't find the past order or my interactions. But I can tell you it's the same thing. I gave them a video where I just wanted them to do the intro in a certain way. And I gave them instructions. I was a little bit vague on purpose to see if they would take it and run with it, or if they would ask me questions to clarify something. Oftentimes with video editors, they're overseas. So there is a language barrier in a lot of cases, and that's okay. But I need to know that they can communicate well. So when I say speed this part up, the drone shot going around a home, and then slow it down when it gets to the front of the home, and then speed it back up when it captures the view behind the home. I need to know if they understand what that means, right? So I'll give them instructions and I'll see if they understand what I mean. Oftentimes I'll get people that send me back an edited shot and it had nothing to do with what I said. And I know that there's too much of a barrier. And so I make it very clear when I'm trying to hire a video editor, if you don't know something, ask me, right? We need to communicate these things. I can't spend money hourly. I'm paying them an hourly rate. I can't spend money for you to make mistakes. I need you to like communicate with me, and communication is really important. And really what I'm trying to find is that person on Fiverr that can communicate well. Like they ask a good question, I answer it. I tell them this is what I meant by speeding it up. Not 2x. I would do 1.5x. I think 2x doesn't look good. 1.5x looks good. I'm just giving an example. Kind of, there's like a small interaction there. When they get it, that's the person I want to work with. Meaning they don't need to be like this amazing video editor that's incredible. I'm gonna teach them how to do these edits, but I just need to know that the communication can be done at a high level. And so I'm very, very focused on communication more than anything else.
So real quick, just so people can follow along. So first thing you did is went out and found a videographer, right, who could shoot it. So everyone needs to pay attention to what Raj is doing here. Raj is not the one going to the homes shooting the videos himself now. He was at the beginning, okay? Now he is not. So imagine the amount of time he gets back for doing YouTube. So he went a wise hire, found and whittled down videographers. At the same time, went into Fiverr. Can you pull up and show some of the people you'd recommend on Fiverr that they reach out to? But went to Fiverr and found an editor, so that the person shooting it is not the same person editing it. If you're talking about most agents who want to get the cost down, this is an extremely cost-effective way. The question in here Ian asked is it common you find a videographer who also does editing? Yes, it's going to cost you more, right? So Bryce, my guy, costs way more because he does the editing as well. So if you're going to have an all-in-one, it will cost you more. Now, it's more of a headache to do what Raj is doing because you're going back between two people, especially somebody in the Philippines. But if we're doing something cost-effective, this is the way to do it. Continue.
Yeah, absolutely. So I hired my video editor 3 years ago. So if you're a good video editor, you're no longer on Fiverr, right? Because you got consistent work coming in from somebody like me or somebody else, right? So all I did was search video editor. I tried to look at the highest reviewed people, and then I messaged them what I wanted before I actually placed an order. And I wanted to see if they were interested. And I said, hey, I'm looking for somebody who I can guarantee at minimum 10 hours a week of work. That's what everybody's looking for because the gigs are too inconsistent. So you're providing a solution to their problems. Same thing with the videographer. And I just tell them I have a trial that I'm going to run them through. That's probably going to take them a few hours. You'll pay $6 an hour, but eventually you want to get them consistent work, 10 hours a week. And then also mention, similar to what I did with videographer, I have other people that I mentor on YouTube, or I have colleagues that are in my marketplace that have similar needs. I can get you more work, but I just want to make sure that we're on the same page first and we can work together well. So I communicate that very early on with the video editor. And then I jumped ahead before. Basically, that's when I run them through the trial. I pay them like 10 to 15 bucks an hour. Or excuse me, I pay them 10 to 15 bucks for like the project that I sent to them. That's just usually editing like an intro or speeding up like a reel or something like that. And that's where I'm just trying to see who can communicate really well. I did go through like 20 to 25 people on Fiverr, so it did take a while. I mean, I think I spent like 10 bucks a person, so it cost me a few $100 to find that one person who was really good. So it does take a lot of people, but once I found that one person, I gave them a lot of work. I connected them with other realtors in my market. They've been working with me now for over 3 years.
So let's break down costs. So I think people's heads are swimming in this. So to shoot one video, let's break it down by video. To have one video shot, what's the cost that you're paying right now?
I always go by
Per,
hourly rate. And I always tell
okay.
people I've done these edits before. I know how long it takes. I've done the videos before. I know how long it takes. I've gone to new construction communities where there's three homes for sale all next door to each other. I know how long it takes to get each of those videos. So I tell them this is my expectation. For videographers, it should take 40 minutes or less to do the long form video, the thumbnail shot, and the drones. Okay, the drone shots. For a video editor, it depends on the intro and kind of how, how much editing's involved. But the point is, Jeremy, I've done all these things myself, so I know how much time it takes, right? So that's why I pay hourly. If I didn't know how long it would take, maybe I'd pay per video. For the hourly, it started at $6 an hour for my video editor. I think we're up to like 7.50, $8 an hour right now because they've been with me for a while and I reward that loyalty. For videographers, $25 an hour. And
And
for videographers, I don't do like per video because sometimes like it's cloudy, they don't do the drone shots that day for that house, right? They go to
got it.
another
Okay.
house. And so like that's where I think the hourly rate's important.
So for 1 hour, so what did you say it was? You're paying 35 or $50 an hour?
For 1 hour, videographer, $25 an hour. For a video
Okay.
editor, $6 to $7 an hour.
Okay. And will they get 1 to 2, or it's like 1.5 homes done in an hour, or is it just one home every hour?
For a videographer, they can easily get at least one video an hour. For a video editor, they can do all my edits in like 10 hours a week. I don't really know what it's down to. Maybe like an intro might take like 30 to 60 minutes. Um, to be upfront with you, Jeremy, I just trust my video editor now, like where I just pay them 10 hours a week. It costs me $75 a week, $300 a month. I don't know the exact breakdown right now, but maybe 3 years ago I did.
So $300 a month, how many videos is that getting you?
That's getting me about 15 to 20 videos, now including reels on top of long form YouTube videos. Yeah.
I'm sorry for everybody watching this. I'm sorry to get so granular with this, but I think this is what if you're finding value in the breakdown of what the cost is and how this works, please drop a one or just a yes in the comment section, because these are the very minutia questions I always get from everyone whenever I talk. Right. So I want to make sure that we actually really went through that piece, because what I pay for an editor is different from what he pays for an editor. He's getting 15 videos and videography, 15 videos done a month at $300. I can tell you, Bryce, when you edit this, I pay Bryce a heck of a lot more, right? But again, if you're going to hire somebody locally to do this, I would budget $2,500. It depends on the area you're in. Probably like $2,500 minimum for the same thing, minimum, up to, I would say, five, six, seven, $8,000. I'm kind of right in the middle of all of that. But like I said, it's a more in-person thing. And so like I can tell Bryce, here, Bryce, this is what we want. And Bryce and I could go back and forth. You're going to have a little extra time doing what Raj here does when you're starting this, because they're like going to go, this sucks, I didn't like this. And then there's a language barrier there. So, but for $300 a month, Raj is doing $25 million a year. And how much time, Raj, in this whole process? You're doing so the process is he sends the edit. So the guy shoots it, he sends the edits to the editor, and he'll show you his Trello board here in a second. The editor then sends it back to him. Raj from there takes the video, uploads it into what software do you use?
I use Dropbox for storage and then Trello to organize everything.
To do your voiceovers. What program are
Oh,
you using?
Adobe Premiere Pro.
Adobe Premiere Pro. I use Final Cut Pro. And basically all he does is go, okay, I watch the footage a couple times and then boom, and we'll get into a scripting that converts, because I think the scripting is the most important piece on here as well. And then he does that. So he does the voiceover. And then what happens after you do the voiceover?
My editor posts everything for me.
Right. So then it goes back to the editor. He's got the Trello board here. The editor posts everything. Per video that you put out, how much time do you think it takes you per video from the moment you go, here's the house that we're going to shoot, call the videographer to shoot that house, getting the footage back, sending it over to the person, doing the voiceover, and then they upload it. What is the hour it looks like or time it looks like for you per video?
Yeah, about per video, like an hour and a half per video. So maybe like three to 4 hours per week is what I was putting in.
Did your mind, if your mind just blew from that, like has blown, do the little blowing head emoji thing or put something in the comment section, because an hour and a half, everybody asks me. So this is the questions you all ask me when we do these things. An hour and a half, and we're talking how many, 15 videos. So 15 hours a month, we'll call it 20 hours for fun, making, almost a million GCI off of $300 a month. And only, let's mind you, how much time are you spending driving across town all the way to South Austin, to North Austin, to East Austin, to West Austin? How much time do you spend doing that?
I'm not. Yeah. So I just, my videographer goes out to these areas. Occasionally, like I was, when I was working more with clients, I would go to like a pre-drywall meeting with a builder, with my clients or something. But other than that, my videographer is getting all the footage. So I don't put my face in a lot of my videos. And so that allows my videographer to get all the shots that I need, which is usually just one long shot going through the home, being very detail oriented. And then when I'm at home, I just do a voiceover. And so my videographers getting all the footage that I need.
And how much time are you spending driving across town with the clients in your car?
Well, now I have realtor partners that work with all my clients. But before I would just take them out for like one weekend when they're traveling in. A lot of my clients are out of state, so they usually come in for one weekend, maybe 2 weekends if one spouse has to stay home on the first trip. But it's usually just that one day of going out. But it's only one day of going out because they've looked at so many homes virtually before we even meet in person. And so they've already looked at probably 30 to 50 homes virtually before we ever step foot in the house here in Austin.
Man, who would like to cut down your time driving around Austin or whatever city you're in, and spend 15 hours a month doing voiceovers, getting and making almost a million plus? You're probably gonna do over $1 million this year. So just GCI, I mean, pretty efficient, right? Okay. And then so like for you, I want to get to the scripting of what you're saying in the videos. I think that's really important. And then we're going to come back to this right here, which is your Trello board, because what happens with him, and this is what's really, really amazing, is that on his Trello board, he has all of these video tours that have been done. And so he basically says to the client, here's like the 5 that I think you're going to like based on what I said. They look at those and then basically they run out and go contract on that model home. It's stupid easy. So let's talk about the scripting. All right, I'm doing the voiceover part now. I'm Raj. I'm looking at the floor plan. How do we put together the voiceover to where it converts? I'm talking about converting clients here. How does that look?
Yeah, and Jeremy's getting to the core tactic. One thing I want to mention, because I saw a comment from Kelly that was like, I spent 6 hours editing a 6-minute video. I feel you. I've been there before. Here's what I found. You need to pick the model that you're going to do. My model for home tours is a 5 out of 10 quality. That 5 out of 10 quality, it doesn't look great. It's not amazing. It's not like I have all these cool shots. I did a lot of intros where it's got drone shots, it's got music in 2024. You're going to see here in 2025 when I get back to posting consistently that I'm going to throw all that out. Those intros didn't really do much for me. Didn't keep my audience on. What I'm doing in 2025 is my quality needs to be a 5 out of 10 so my quantity can be a 10 out of 10, right? And some realtors do the opposite, and both can work. Some realtors, they want to go 10 out of 10 quality. They spend a couple hours doing drone work. They spend hours and hours on their video. There's tons of edits. It's music. It's high energy. It's all this stuff. That can work at 10 out of 10 quality, but your quantity is going to be low, right? So there's a realtor in Calgary who's famous for doing this, Brad McCallum. He has amazing videos. He pumps out one video a week, and that's a lot for him. But his quality is a 10 out of 10. I'm the opposite. My quality is 5 out of 10, but my quantity is a lot. So I think you need to choose, right? You need to choose which way you're going. If you're going my way where quality is low, that's what allows me to outsource all this stuff because I'm not getting all these amazing shots. In terms of Jeremy's question of how do I put together a script, My goal is to break down the video into two parts. The first is the intro. The intro is the most important. I'll probably spend 15, 20 minutes on an intro. And I saw Rambo was commenting before. Rambo and I have just had phone calls before where we just talk about an intro for a video and we spend 10 minutes on it. It's because that intro is so important. Your audience has hundreds of apps on their phone. They have a TV, they have an iPad, their kids are yelling, they have to cook dinner, they got a million things going on in their life. You have to convince them in the first 5 to 10 seconds of your YouTube video of why they should stay on your video. It is by far the most important part. I'll tell that to realtors and then they'll send me their first video they do and they'll say, "Hey, my name's Jeff. I'm in Austin, Texas, and today we're touring this home." No, you already lost your audience. Nobody cares. I hate to say it, but nobody cares that your name's Jeff. Nobody cares that you're a realtor. Nobody cares that you're in Austin. Nobody cares about any of that. You have to convince them that they are going to why they should stay on the video. So that intro is by far the most important part. 30 seconds in, I'll try to figure out what's coming up in the home that they want to see. Might be a second floor balcony with an amazing view, might be a game room, media room combination, might be something that's going on in the market at the time I'm recording this video, might be new lots that are coming up with the builder. There's got to be something that's coming up later on in the video that's going to keep your audience on, okay? So that first 90 seconds of the video, I'm hyper focused on what I'm saying, and I'll re-record to make it better. I'll even listen to myself and I'm like, that's not high energy enough. Sometimes I'll get out of my seat. I'll do jumping jacks. This is at like 1 o'clock in the morning when I was doing a lot of voiceovers. When I had young kids that were getting up a lot at night, I would do that and do jumping jacks to get high energy and more enthusiasm in the beginning because that intro is so important. The rest of the video, like the rest of the 90% of the video, I'm talking about different parts of the house, but I'm also doing a ton of storytelling. I'm giving my clients experiences that they've had walking through homes like this, what they've wanted in a home, what they compromised in a home. I'm going off on so many stories. Sometimes I'm talking about the community that we're in. Sometimes I'm talking about the weather. Overall, I'm just trying to connect with my audience emotionally. And this is where target audience is everything. Jeremy and I talked about it years ago of trying to establish that target audience. And when I first heard him talk about target audience, it was life-changing because everybody that was starting YouTube channels in Austin, they were just talking about broad Austin. I was talking about a specific buyer that was moving from the Bay Area in California or Seattle. And to this day, that's the majority of my clients. Over 70% of my clients move here from the Bay Area or Seattle. And I talk to them all the time. I talk about the weather in Seattle compared to the weather in Austin. Keep in mind, I'm in a home tour. I'm showing a spare closet in a bedroom, and I'm talking about the weather from Seattle to Austin. And I'll lean in
I
on
think
those points because that's what connects with my audience.
so. First of all, if you don't have your audience, no shame, but just say, "I'm not sure," or say, "That's me," in the comment section. If you know your audience, just write, "I know." I want to hear, because this is the biggest problem most agents have, is they start just shooting content and they don't have their actual, like, who their ideal person is. So you said yours person is somebody moving from the Bay Area. They're techie. They want lots of data and information. We'll show your Trello board in a minute. Or they're moving from Seattle. So in your videos, what are some of the things that you say that resonates with those people besides just the weather?
Yeah, good question. So I want to give everybody a hard example because I think the number one mistake people do in the home tour video is they're feature jamming. Feature jamming is like, this home's got 5 bedrooms, it's got 4.5 bathrooms, it's got a beautiful kitchen backsplash, it's got quartz countertops, it's got hardwood floors. What are we doing? We're just reading off whatever the builder gave us or whatever's on the MLS listing, right? Everybody can read those things and nobody's connecting with hardwood or countertops emotionally, right? So I want to give you a very hard example and I'll give you the bad, the good, and the great way of explaining it. So if I found a lot of homes in Austin, especially with new builds, they had open concept, tall ceilings in the living room, tall ceilings when you first walk in, but a lot of them started to have 2 bedrooms down. Why did that happen? Sandwich generation, millennials, they have young kids. They also have older parents that can't go up and down the steps. And so when I saw 2 bedrooms down, the bad way of explaining that would be, this home has 2 bedrooms down. There's no emotional connection to that. It means nothing. But the good way of explaining that is, hey, this home has 2 bedrooms down. So if you have parents staying with you or somebody elderly that's staying with you from time to time, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months, and you don't want them going up and down the steps, this home is built with 2 bedrooms down for that exact reason. So they can have privacy on the first floor, they have their own bathroom, their own bedroom, and then if they don't want to go up and down the steps, you have them with you on your first floor, but it's still private from the primary bedroom. Secondary bedrooms in the front of the home, primary bedrooms in the back of the home. That's a good way of explaining 2 bedrooms down. A great way of explaining it is this. In one of my videos, actually a lot of my videos, I'll talk about 2 bedrooms down is great for having parents staying with you from time to time if you don't want them going up and down the steps. Now, I know that's a difficult conversation to have with each other about criteria for your home. I can relate to that. My dad is 78 years old. He is fully capable of going up and down the steps. My dad is an absolute workhorse. The idea that my dad can't go up and down the steps, it's heartbreaking to think about it, right? But if I'm buying my forever home, I have to have those hard conversations because one day my dad may not go up and down the steps. My dad I may not want him to go up and down the steps. It's extremely important for my mom and dad to stay with me on this first floor because I want them to spend time with my kids who are young, and I don't want them to feel like they have to go up and down the steps to constantly be with them or to go up and down to their bedroom. Now, what happens when I say something like that? People relate to it. They connect with it on an emotional level to the point where on the first phone call I get from people, they say, hey, when you talked about your dad being 78, I was thinking the same thing. My dad is fully capable of going up and down the steps, but one day he might not. I appreciate you mentioning that. Family is so important to us. I feel like you get us. When that happens on the first phone call, am I going to be their realtor? 100% of the time, right? 100% of the time, because I'm connecting with them on that emotional level.
I love that. And so this is where I think we as content creators, right? Because that's what we are when we start doing YouTube. We forget that we don't know who we're talking to. We're trying to sell, trying to do the other things, but we have to do those things. The best thing you said one time is like, yeah, I was talking about how a client from Seattle reached out and blah blah blah, and then immediately you had 3 or 4 people reach out that were like, oh my god, I'm from Seattle, I blah blah blah, I'd like that you work with people from Seattle. Instead of saying like, hey, I work from people with Seattle, you said, hey, one of my clients reached out from Seattle, they loved the floor plan because they wanted nice tall ceilings, they didn't get that in their Seattle home. Like that is so think about these things, whether you're doing, a newsy style content like my style or like his style, if you're going to do his style, or if you're going to do like, we're going to have Rod Alawan on next week. He does a phenomenal job. Everybody do me a favor. Go subscribe to the Agent Tactics YouTube channel. I just put it on there. All the replays go on there. I email them out. If you're not on my email list, get on the email list. If you loved Raj this week, first of all, put a like clapping hands emoji or something that you've loved this so far. I want you to come back next week when Raj hosts so you can ask follow-up questions to Raj and hear what Rod's doing, because I think it's important. A lot of you say you don't know who your audience is. Let's help follow and understand who our audience is. You're not going to crush it the first video. It's going to take a few videos. How long did it take you to get a really good flow on your videos?
Man, I still feel like I'm struggling with flow, It's like I think you can always critique yourself, right? And
Okay.
I would say, it took probably 3 months of posting consistently. I think actually what did it, Jeremy, is when I started to get my first leads, which didn't happen to like 2 to 4 months out, because then I could actually listen and Zoom with the person who was listening to my videos. And so that's where I think it made it easier, because you can look at my social media right now on Facebook. I'm a I post twice a year. I'm that type of social media guy, right? Like I rarely post. I've never been into social media. And so the idea of talking into a camera was a little bit awkward, right? And I think everybody can relate to that. But once I started to hear people that were mostly in California and the Bay Area and Seattle, I started hearing their problems. I started hearing their motivation for why they want to move, their high taxes, the whatever problem that's going on around this area. It made it so easy to pump out content once I looked into the camera and saw people instead of the camera. Does that
Yeah.
make sense? And once I
100%.
kind of had that paradigm shift in my mindset, it made it so easy. I can talk now all the time through stuff. I'm still hypercritical of myself. I still think I could do things better, but it's easier for me to pump out content now because I know who I'm talking to every single time.
Okay, so for all of those, thank you. That 100%, dude, I love it. For all of those people that are still questioning who their ideal client is, I want to tell you something. Raj said something very important there. It took 3 to 4 months for him to start getting leads from this. So when people tell me I'm going to do YouTube, I always ask them, how are you going to get business over the next 3 or 4 months? Venus Howard, I see you did the clapping hands. I'm glad you're on here. This is the exact conversation her and I just had in a little one-on-one I wouldn't say coaching, but mentoring moment we had a couple weeks ago. I told her, and I'm curious, Venus, if you did this, I'm going to put you on blast, and I apologize, but if you did this, I want you to put a comment. Yes, I did this. If you want to get business off of YouTube immediately, here's what you need to do. And if you want to figure out who your client base is, you need to do this. And if you were there on Monday, I said this, so I'm reiterating this. I think this is very important. One, I would go through the list of all of your favorite clients you worked with over the last year, 2 years, whatever. If you're new into the business and you don't know who that is, all of your favorite friends, your favorite family members, the people you like the most, I would put them on a spreadsheet and I would go through and call each and every one. And I would just do it as a very, very simple script. Hey, it's Jeremy. Obviously, I love working with amazing people. And no, I'm not asking you to work with you right now. But here's what I'm doing. I'm building a YouTube channel. I'm trying to speak to more people like you, people I actually really care about, because I want to work with more amazing people like you. So what are some of the things you wish you knew? What would you like to see? What would a friend that just bought a home, what were they looking for? Can you help me come up with the ideas and content that I need to talk to? Number one, you're telling people you love them and you're not asking for business, you're asking for help. I guarantee you, they are going to call somebody and go, oh my God, I just got a call with this. They're building a YouTube channel. They were so sweet. Oh, my friend, blah, blah, blah. Like, oh, let's connect them. And you didn't ask for business. Okay. I would start there, because if you're confused on how you're going to do content, let's say you're going to do Raja style content, call your friends and say, I'm doing a tour style home and I want to work with more people like you. What are some of the things that you love about your home? And when you were touring, what were the things you looked at? Then you could say, hey, while I was touring with homes, my clients always want to see this. So I show it to you because this is the number one thing they ask me. In this video, I'm going to show you the 5 things that my clients always ask me about. When you say things like that, these are the 5 things that my clients always ask me about. It shows them that you care, you're listening, and then you are not asking for business. You're showing proof of a concept or proof of business. And you're not asking for business. You're building trust. Number one thing. Okay. I think we beat that to a pulp. Are we good to move on and then see your storyboards? Are you good to see how he actually takes these clients in and converts them? If you are, hit yes. Rambo says yes. Kelly says, love the way you're reaching out to your past clients. Yes, everybody's ready. All right, so leads are coming in. First of all, real quick, what are the ways that you're getting people to reach out to you? Is it a phone number? Is it a link in your account? How is it that you get the leads? And then let's talk about the next step from there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a lead magnet is what Jeremy's asking about, right? Like, how do you get people to convert from your audience to leads, like names, numbers, emails? You have to ask yourself, what is the pain point for your audience? And a lead magnet is just a solution to that pain point, right? So my market might be a little bit different. By the way, I'm 100% new construction sales. I've never done a listing before. I don't ever plan on doing a listing. I always refer it out to my referral partners. And I just lean in on what I'm good at, which is new construction. And with new construction, what I find, if you're a forever home buyer, you're about to buy a 3,000 to 5,000 square feet, it's the biggest asset you've ever considered buying in your life. You want to know what all your options are, right? And for a lot of people that are looking to build from scratch, they don't know what lots are coming up in 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. And builders are great. Some of them don't want to always talk about what's coming up 3 to 12 months from now, because what's going to happen? Everybody's going to wait, right, to buy. And what I try to do is I try to develop relationships with great builder agents to tell them my intentions. I'm not trying to tell them, everybody, that they should wait. My goal is just to know what options are out there so I can get people lined up, especially here in Austin, where people want view lots. They want an incredible backdrop off their home. They want a second floor balcony. So what I do is I get all the lots that are coming up in the next 3 to 9 months. Again, that's the pain point. Nobody wants to buy or build a home. They put 100 grand deposit down, and then a month later they find out that new lots opened up with amazing views. Why didn't they know about them? And that's the worst phone call to get as a realtor, when somebody says, why didn't you tell me about that, right? So I never want that to happen, and I want to lean in on that pain point. In a lot of my videos, you'll hear me say, hey, if you want great views off your backyard, I know the view lots that are coming up over the next 1 to 6 months. And I have a board that I share with all my clients that gives them access to all the options that are coming up. So before you make your purchase, you know what your best options are. If you need that, text the number at the bottom of the description of this video, introduce yourself, let's jump on Zoom, and I'll show you what that looks like. So going into the first phone call, a lot of people tell me, hey, you already know what I want. I want that view lot, and I want to know what view lots you have. Then after the phone call, which is usually just information gathering, I'm just trying to get their criteria. What I do is I send them a video sharing my screen, and I give them a few communities that I want to highlight. And I'll literally just share Google Maps, and I'll say, here are the communities. And then I'll give them a private, unlisted video that nobody else can see of an amazing view lot. Again, this is the pain point from my market. So if you don't have view lots, you don't have new construction around you, fill in the blank, right? Figure out what the pain point is in your market for your target audience, right? And fill in the blank.
You could do this. So here's a prime
Go ahead.
example. So I work in luxury. I just put a $5 million home under contract literally last night. Okay. And so I work with a lot of stuff that's not even on the MLS. So we do content about stuff that's not even on the MLS. So, hey, if you look, I'm going to show you some homes that are not on the market. These are private listings that are not on the market. We're going to do a tour on these. And oh, by the way, I have access to all the off-market properties. So if you're looking for something a little more private that's not going to be on the MLS, I am the person to help you with that. Does that sound good? Anybody else think that's
if I'm a luxury buyer, do I want something exclusive off market? 100%, right? I want to know what all those options are. I'm reaching out to Jeremy.
And then you go to whatever, we have the awesome luxury network. There's other networks, and you go on and shoot content on there. So that's my suggestion there. If Bryce, clip that. Okay. We may need to make a reel out of that, Bryce, if you watch this far in the video, buddy. Okay. So so let's take a step back. You're telling them, like, I have all the lots, I have all the information, text this information below. It's not super salesy. I look at stuff 1 to 3 to 5 months from now. I know what it is. Text this number. They text that number, and then you take them in. You set up an appointment. You set it up through Zoom. You go and you do you pull up the map. You show them where things are, and sometimes you'll send them a video of like different lots, a video of different lots. Okay, take us from there.
Yeah. So from there, we jump on a Zoom call, and that Zoom call is just to answer questions they have. I also might talk about schools or something that's really important to them. I'll share my screen during that Zoom call. Obviously, ideally, I'm just trying to see them virtually and see their expressions. Usually I talk to one spouse, not the other spouse. And so I want to get to know that other spouse, make sure that the criteria that I got from one spouse is also what they want. And we also talk about that. Then, of course, I cover processes and compensation. Even before the NAR lawsuit, I'd always talked about compensation, was very clear. And I told them that if they want to know all their options, because I don't give them everything. I don't give, it's impossible. It would be like a 30-minute long video. It would be an hour-long call to talk about all the options. I tell them some options, but then I tell them if they want all the options, the only thing I ask for is that if I'm going to work with you, that you're going to work with me. And I explain buyer representation paperwork. And for the last 3.5, 4 years, I've always done this. I've always gotten buyer rep paperwork before doing anything else. So I do one phone call that's usually 20 minutes. I make a 5 to 10 minute video, which I do through BombBomb, or you can use Loom, that shares your screen, gets me in front of their face, or gets my face in front of them. And then I do a 30-minute Zoom call. So I'm under an hour or around an hour for a new lead. And I don't do anything else until they sign buyer rep paperwork. Do they sign buyer rep paperwork? A large percentage of the time, a lot of times, yes. And it's because they want those things that I've teased throughout the sales process, right? Again, Jeremy gave some other pain points that you can lean in on. You just got to figure out what those pain points look like and then provide a solution to them.
76% of the time, it works every time.
Exactly. Classic. Anchorman. Jeremy, can I go back to something that I thought was stated for target audience? Or did you have something else?
And I No, no, go ahead. And I hate to tell everybody this, I have a hard out in 8 minutes. So again, if you want to be able to ask more Q&A questions, you're going to have him host next week. So he'll probably allow more time for Q&A. I wanted to get through kind of all of this. If you appreciate that, thank you. I appreciate you for coming in. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So when we talked about target audience, Jeremy, you said some great things there about trying to identify that target audience. I saw like Venus said, I'm not too sure. Kelly said, you don't want to be too broad. Some people said, I kind of know, I'm not really sure. You really need to dig into this. I find the market research is not done for people before they take on this time commitment of doing YouTube, which is, as Jeremy mentioned, it's a long game, right? So if you're going to do that long game, you have to do market research in the beginning. And what I would always tell people, for Austin, it was easier for me to do this because I can go to builder agents. Like shout out to Amy Marino, who's a great agent with Perry Homes in a community in Liberty Hill, Texas here. And what I would do is I go to somebody like Amy and I would say, hey, Amy, what's your most popular floor plan? Why is it your most popular floor plan? What's the motivating factor of people moving here? Where are they moving from? What are the problems with where they're moving from, right? I'm trying to get answers to those questions because those are all my talking points for my channel. Those are also my lead magnets, right? Because I'm going to try to identify the pain points of that target audience. Now, if you don't have builders, talk to seasoned agents, network within your community, talk to business owners, ask business owners who's showing up to your restaurant. Why? When did they move here? Are they established in this neighborhood, or did they just move here? Why did they move here? You know, talk to people who are in front of people that are moving to that area. Could be schools, could be teachers, could be so many different people. And like Jeremy was saying, go deep on those questions. Try to figure out their motivation. I did that, Amy. At Perry Homes. A shout out to you. I did that with Kirk, who works at Perry Homes, and I did that 3 years ago. And Kirk told me about these 90-foot wide lots that were coming up, and there was a model home in San Antonio. And he said, you got to see these homes. They're amazing, but we don't have anything in Austin. So I drove an hour and a half to San Antonio. This is a month after we had our daughter. So sleep deprived. I was up all night. I drove to San Antonio to get 2 home tours. I came back, I posted those home tours, and 6 months later, I had 3 clients under contract, 4 to 5,000 square feet. I had never done a deal over $1 million, and all 3 of those clients contracted between 1.1 and $1.3 million in that community that builder agent told me about. So when I tell you, like, this is how I identified target audience, like that was life-changing going down to San Antonio just to get 2 home tours, and I never would have done it if I didn't have that conversation with that builder agent.
Yeah, you're talking about 90 to 120, maybe more, 100 in GCI for how much time to go down and take a couple videos, right? But that's rough. Anybody else find that to be super rough? You know, to make 100 grand for driving to San Antonio. If you paid me 100 grand, I would definitely drive to San Antonio. But other than that, I don't know if I'd drive. Frank, you could pay me 100 grand, and I'll come see you in Houston, but that might be the only time. Just kidding. All right. All right. Let's ask some last minute quick questions. I want to go through your Trello board. Maybe we'll do that on another call. Frank did ask, though, do you have a how to get any chance we can get a how to record checklist? That might be one. You know what we should do is you and I do an off-site video where we record a video talking about how to actually do that, and then we can post it on Agent Tactics. Or
Yeah,
you have an agent-facing channel as well, right?
kind of. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll put it on Agent Tactics. Stay on there. If you are somebody who's actually trying to grow a team, I actually did a really cool interview with Jason Mesnick, the guy who was on The Bachelor, you know, that guy, and Chris Dalto. They did $175 million last year. I just posted that video. I got a couple more coming out with other people doing some big things. So definitely go there and subscribe. Let's see. Will you share the SOP from Trello? I mean, that's like giving away all the magic, man.
I don't think it's going to help you because here's the thing. My target audience is software engineers, right? So that SOP is built around getting every detail possible of these floor plans. That might put your audience to sleep. You need to develop what works for your audience. Like if I was marketing to more like starter homes, I'd have a completely different SOP. If I was doing custom homes, I would have a completely different SOP. You have to market to your target audience. And if your target audience is not software engineers moving from the Bay Area or Seattle, that SOP is useless to you.
What do you got, Chase?
Hey, Raj, thanks so much for all this extra detail and stuff. I
Sure.
have a pretty good YouTube channel already that's specific for like a niche, like a specific neighborhood just north of Houston in the Woodlands. I do feel like that I am missing out on the opportunity of the people that are moving to Conroe and Spring and some other areas. And I've thought about this before as a supplement. I have my videographer, I have the edit, like I've got all that systems down. Do you think in any way like a second channel like would complement or hurt? And then what would you actually name it? That's kind of the end question.
Yeah, so 100% start a new channel. I'm creating 5 new channels in the next couple months. So I've gone all in on content, and I've kind of had my realtor partners now handle a lot of my clients, or pretty much all my clients. And so I'm doubling down on multiple channels. I think the algorithm is rewarding very niche content. And it always has, but I think it's even gone down deeper. So I would definitely create channels if it's a different location, a different price point, or both. The name of the channel, it's tough. You have, and I'm looking at your channel right now. So Chase Giles, the Woodlands Realtor. I think it could still be your full name and then just a different area. Or if it's like homes under 600,000 or homes under $1 million, I think you could do it that way. At the end of the day, I'm not too worried about the name of your channel as much as I am that you are speaking to a specific target audience. Okay. I have somebody I'm mentoring on YouTube. They did content around people who have dogs. They didn't know to do that in the beginning, but they saw that there were dog parks being built. There was like a dog bar next to them. Everything was dog related. All the amenities was dog related. So they started talking about backyards and their dogs and what it meant for a lot of people, like having a big backyard. And their channel blew up with dog, like not dog content, but talking about dogs. Like that's how they connect with people. So now they tour homes and they start talking about dogs a lot. I have somebody who does 5 to 10 acre properties in Texas. All they talk about is what you can do in your backyard. It's very little about the house. So I would focus more on that. I think if you do that and you keep your audience on and you keep speaking to a target audience, that matters more than the name of your channel, the title, SEO, or any of that stuff.
Awesome.
Jeremy, do you agree with that?
Dude, no, I agree 100%. I started a tours channel because I wanted to copy Raj. And this is the thing is like, I think it's like, again, I can't tell you how important it is to have a good community. I had the opportunity to sit and get some mentorship from Christina Smallhorn. We did the YouTube mastermind on Facebook. I put myself in a good community, and now we have built an amazing community. Like Chase is in the community, Frank's in the community. We have a lot of people. So like surround yourself with a really good community doing things that you want to do, whether it's YouTube or not. Maybe it's Instagram. Surround yourself by those people and you'll do well. All right. I hate to go because I know there's a ton of questions, but if you found value in this, everybody just drop a quick one and in the comment section. Raj, if they want to reach out to you and have a better conversation, what's the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, find me on Instagram. It's just my full name. Also drop a link here in the comments. And I'll be here next Thursdays. So I'll be here on Agent Tactics. And if you're ever here in Austin, reach out to me.
And no worries, Chase, Ray and I are going to do a refresh, a follow-up to the mastermind we did the other day. And then also Chase is going to be hosting, I think, the 20th. Chase is an amazing channel and he's getting business from it. So everybody, I appreciate your time. Make sure you subscribe and follow. We'll see you next week.